wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Okay, in my last video where I was responding to fake news, one of the things that has been coming up recently was Ilhan Omar, representative from, I believe, Minnesota. She made some not great statements where she basically downplayed 9/11 in order to prove a point about Muslims being oppressed in the United States or something like that, which, you know, is retarded. And I'm gonna play a clip. I'm gonna play the clip that's being spread around and just let you guys soak it all in, and then I'm gonna explain to you why everything she said was really shit, because I mean, people are still defending her on this, and just no, what she said was pretty bad.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Yeah, so you see that? You hear that? Yeah, not a good look. She essentially downplayed 9/11 in order to prove a point about my representation and shit. Well, not representation, but about Muslims all of a sudden just getting their rights taken away because of a few bad eggs. Now, you can make the case, and this is a totally fair case you can make, that Muslims were starting to get discriminated against because of a few bad apples in the Middle East. Yeah, sure. But you're making the same mistake the NBC and Dateline did back in 2006. When, remember, like, for those who don't know about this situation, the Iceberg has a great video on this too. The Dateline people at NBC wanted to go to a NASCAR event, and they went to the NASCAR event at Martinsville in the spring. What they wanted to do was show, like, oh, how all these racist redneck NASCAR fans just hate Muslims and shit. So they were coming there with questions about how they think of Muslims and everything. Well, that ended up backfiring because most of the fans there may have been a few who were pretty racist there, but most of them were like, we don't give a shit, we just want to watch our NASCAR racing, and we support our troops and everything, but we just don't care about politics. And that ended up with NBC losing their rights to anything NASCAR. Like, NASCAR just pulled out of NBC, and they were like, no, if you're just gonna spread all this slander about NASCAR fans in general, just going off this generalization that we're all just a bunch of drunk, no-name rednecks who want to watch cars go around in circles all day, fuck you. You can take your shit and shove it. And of course, that's why NASCAR disappeared from NBC. So she's basically kind of doing that thing. Okay? Now, like I said, you can make the case that there are a few bad eggs in here, but for the most part, that Muslims in the United States are good, and they shouldn't have been forced to undergo all that scrutiny. Yes, that's true. Alright, now you could also, bring in some examples of, like, people who were native to the United States who saw Muslim Americans and mistreated them after 9/11 because of the shit that went down. And you could say, hey, but they came around and now they actually treat them with respect and dignity, which is what you should be doing with everybody, regardless of their race or religion. Okay, you could be doing something to make a point out that, but there's a few problems. One, just speaking at a CARE event. Guess what? CARE funnels money for Hamas, which is a very, very terrorist organization in the Middle East. So that's your first problem. And she's also spreading false shit about CARE, saying that CARE was founded immediately after 9/11 to protect the rights of Islamic immigrants or Islamic citizens of the United States. Nope, bullshit. Not what it was founded for. It's basically just a money front in the United States for Hamas, so that way they can keep giving Hamas legitimacy. So, Omar made these statements, and it rightly earned the ire of legitimately almost everyone who was involved in the 9/11 attacks. Like, not involved like they were coordinated, but like personally involved because they knew people who died, or they were there when it happened, or they were involved in those close calls like Seth MacFarlane did, where he was going on one of those planes heading to New York or somewhere. kind of pissed a lot of people off that she just downgraded the death and suffering of over 3,000 people in one of the most largely coordinated attacks in the United States in recent history, to just downplay it as some people doing something. That's a bad enough remark, but remember, this lady is also a raging anti-Semite. And I mean it. She is a raging anti-Semite. Because, remember, not too long ago, she was like comparing, she was saying that all Republicans cared about for Israel, they just cared about the money. It's like caring about all the Benjamins, and that they were just caring about the Jews because they wanted to get more money out of everything. And remember, it was also part of the Women's March, which is also very anti-Semitic. Has some shit in her past where she's done shit that was anti-Semitic. So it's like, in all other case in point, NASCAR should be, not NASCAR, Jesus Christ. I don't know why I started saying NASCAR, but the case in point, she should be rightfully getting the ire of literally anyone on any political spectrum. Even Tim Pool, who is a guy who, he's saying, even people who are like, hey, criticizing Israel isn't anti-Semitic, are saying like, yeah, she's pretty anti-fucking Semitic. But people are still defending her. Why? Intersectionality, of course, that's always going to be a thing. That people are like, yeah. These two Muslim chicks, like, we gotta protect them at all costs, no matter how fucking retarded they are. So, yeah. So, Ilhan Omar is still getting defended. And guess what dumbass defense they gave for her now? Instead of calling her out at first and then backing away because of the backlash from their own side, they actually started saying that Trump, in this ad that I'm about to show you, well, not really an ad, but a Twitter video he tweeted out where he shows her comments and then shows the Twin Towers blowing up, that it was a threat on her life. That criticizing her is a threat on her life. That anyone criticizing Ilhan Omar is inciting violence against her. Actually, no, I'm not even going to show it. I might just put that as the intro, as the video that I show later on, if I can just find it. But yeah, the logic here is so sound and reasonable. Yeah, inciting violence. That's totally what Trump is doing, instead of just rightfully criticizing her for dumb shit she said. That's totally what this is. So you had Rashid Tlaib, who was the other Muslim congresswoman with her, in there saying that Trump's inciting violence against her and that we speak truth to power and shit like that. It's like, no, you say stupid and false shit all the time. Your co-worker's a fucking anti-Semite. Why are you defending her? And then Chris Hayes, the dumbass from NBC, is freaking like, the president is calling violence against this woman. And it's like, no. And you have a bunch of people just parroting this point. No one is calling for the death or violence towards this woman. We are just calling out her fucking bullshit. There's also this tweet from Kamala Harris, the retarded congresswoman who used to be the AG in California. Remember, jailed people for drug use. Tweeted this: for 2 years, this president has used the most powerful platform in the world to sow hate and division. He's done it again, putting the safety and sitting member of Congress, Ilhan Omar, at risk of and vilifying a whole religion is beyond pale. I'll be blunt, we must defeat him. With Ann Hullum retweeting that, which is how I actually came to find this tweet. Yeah, look at the crazy to find the crazy. This is fuck. How retarded do you have to be to not only defend anti-Semitism when it's slapping you right in the face, but you're defending her by saying that Donald Trump, by criticizing her, is somehow putting a threat on her life. Like in doing this for some, like maybe there's like a thing, you zoom and enhance on the video and there's like a little thing in black text at the bottom of the screen saying like a $500,000 reward for her head on a pike. Am I seeing that? No. Am I seeing any threats to violence? No. Has he said, go to her house and punch her in the face? No. He has not done any of that. Not one thing. I haven't... No. Not a damn thing. But this is also put in some stuff that you could also be used against them. So next time someone tries to criticize Donald Trump, we could use this excuse to stop inciting violence against Donald Trump. And I think the Democrats just opened up the meme that will end them in the 2020 elections. Because that is the biggest meme now. Like, Democrats are so crazy, they're literally calling incitement of violence, but it's not actually incitement. They're calling stuff that isn't incitement. And, you know, it's bad, especially. And Stephen Miller's got, on Twitter, he's got a really good, he's done God's work with this. He's really spammed it a lot, like Chris Hayes and stuff like that. Though I just still find it amazing that people in not only the mainstream media, but just, you know, in general life, actually think that Trump is trying to say, hey, we should go punch her in the throat or something like that. It's like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, I don't get it. I don't get what people's obsession is with this woman. It's obvious she doesn't know what she's doing. She's not worse than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when it comes to, like, political remarks, and also Ocasio-Cortez defended her as well, but that was in a different video. But I mean, Jesus Christ, she might be the worst sitting person in Congress. And the fact that people in her own party keep defending her is just bad. I don't see how anyone can support Democrats at this point. Like, unless you're, like, if you're not of the far left and you're just a moderate, or like just maybe a regular person in the left who has no interest in joining up with these people, I have no idea why you would want to vote for the Democrats. I'm not saying that you have to vote for Republicans. Just don't support these people. They're fucking crazy. And, you know, I don't think Trump is going to win 2020 in a landslide. I honestly don't, because as insane the Democrats are, Trump hasn't exactly helped his case much. But, I mean, it could be a decent enough victory. I mean, seriously, Trump won. They should have just went back to the drawing board and tried to get back the voters they lost. But no, they're not doing that. It's crazy. It's just a bad situation, and honestly, this lady should be ashamed for what she said, and, you know, don't call for violence against her. She doesn't deserve it. She really doesn't deserve it. No one deserves violence against each other in a free world like that, no. Even if they do make some really dumb statements, but she should be held accountable by Congress and censored heavily. So it's just, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't die, and kill me.